Josh, can I get paid for generating and exporting solar electricity?
Of course you can, Charlie. It's 2010. Instagram just launched, Disney Rascal is topping the charts, and everyone's going to the cinema to see the hit new film, Avatar. YOLO!
Are you okay?
We're going back in time, Charlie, to the beginning of the Feed-in Tariff.
I'm Charlie.
I'm Josh.
And today we're going to chart the rise and fall of the UK's Feed-in Tariff, a government scheme which ran from 2010 to 2019 and had a massive impact on the solar industry.
And we're Sunsave. We offer the UK's first solar subscription, which means you can switch to solar with no upfront cost and instead make fixed monthly payments.
To find out more about Sunsave Plus, you can skip ahead because we talk about it later. You can click a link in the description as well. Let's begin.
Now, the UK isn't the only country to have successfully implemented a scheme like this. They've also been wildly successful in countries including China, Japan and Germany.
In fact, back in 2016, there were no fewer than 83 countries around the world with some sort of feed-in tariff incentive for renewable energy generation.
But today we're going to focus on the UK's feed-in tariff because we reckon that's probably what you're here for.
Stay tuned for our 82 other videos about the feed-in tariff schemes around the world.
We're going to have a discussion about that after this, maybe? Anyway, let's get back to the UK's feed-in tariff and find out what it did.
The feed-in tariff compelled energy suppliers to pay homes and businesses for all the renewable electricity they generated and exported.
That's right, like solar.
Yep, solar, but also wind, hydro, anaerobic digestion and micro-combined heat and power.
It was created for a few main reasons. Firstly, to encourage more homes to go solar by making it more financially attractive.
It was also meant to empower people and get them on board with the UK's transition to a greener future.
And change the way that people consume their energy at home.
And lastly, to develop the UK's solar industry and reduce energy costs. Like and subscribe!
Wait, did you say that solar homes were paid for all the electricity they generate and exported under the feed-in tariff?
I'm not sure.
Yes, you did! Under the feed-in tariff, households were paid for every kilowatt hour of electricity that their solar panels generated, no matter what they did with that electricity. On top of that, the government also paid solar homes for all the electricity that they sent to the grid, or exported.
Hang on a second, so that means that if I generated electricity with my solar panels and then exported it, I'd be paid for it twice?
Exactly. The government initially set an export rate of 3p per kilowatt hour, which is pretty low.
A bit low.
A bit low. And a generation rate of between 31 and 41p per kilowatt hour, which is incredibly high.
And at the time when it launched, electricity cost about 13p per kilowatt hour, so solar homes were sitting pretty.
The feed-in tariff was funded by a pretty small increase in everyone's energy bills, which has proven to be a pretty standard way for countries to fund this kind of incentive.
If a home got solar panels before August 2012, the contract would run for 25 years, but if you installed after August 2012, the contract would run for 20 years.
That means many solar homes will continue to receive feed-in tariff payments for another 10 to 15 years, despite it ending in 2019. Every year, the feed-in tariff rates go up with inflation. So last year, in 2024, Ofgem put them up by 5.2%, in line with the retail price index.
What a glorious legacy for these households. Some of them are going to be earning tens of thousands of pounds across the length of their contract.
Yes, although the actual rates that are being paid out vary widely, especially for generation.
For example, if you got a 4 kilowatt peak system installed in April 2010, as of June 2025, you'd be receiving over 74p per kilowatt hour of electricity generated.
Whereas if you got the same system installed in April 2016, and it raised your EPC rating to a D or above, you'd be getting paid just 7.39p per kilowatt hour.
That is a lot lower. So Josh, did the good times keep on rolling? I'm sensing they didn't.
They did not. By the mid-2010s, rates have fallen so sharply that the idea of going solar was much less appealing. And by the time the scheme ended in 2019, the maximum generation rate that you could get was around 5.4p per kilowatt hour.
Now, if you look at this snazzy chart we're about to put on the screen, you'll be able to see just how sharply the feed-in tariff rates fell off.
Yes, this chart in particular is showing the rates that could be earned by systems with a capacity of 4 kilowatt peak, connected to buildings that were occupied prior to installation and meeting the higher energy efficiency requirement rating. And this load of technical language basically just refers to a 4-bedroom house with good insulation and a typical solar panel system.
That is a lot of words, Josh. As you can see, things started very well, then there was a sharp drop in 2012 and another big drop in 2016, which actually set the generation rate lower than the export rate for the first time. And then on that fateful day, the 31st of March 2019, the feed-in tariff finally shut up shop and closed to new applications. So Josh, why did the rates just drop off like that?
Well, the government wanted to kickstart solar adoption, and it worked. In 2010, there were just 4,600 solar homes in the UK, and by mid-2015, there were more than 800,000.
Okay, so I guess with solar households growing in popularity, the government couldn't justify spending taxpayer money on incentivising everyone.
Exactly, and that's why the number of installations dropped off so sharply, that is until the Smart Export Guarantee.
Before we go into that, shall we pause proceedings and talk about our revolutionary new solar subscription?
Why don't we?
Sunsave Plus is the UK's first solar subscription, and it is designed to unlock solar for millions of households in the UK.
With Sunsave Plus, you can switch to solar with no upfront cost. All you have to do is pay a fixed monthly fee for 20 years. And it does stay absolutely fixed. No sneaky price rises, so you are fully protected against inflation from energy bills.
You will immediately start saving on your energy bills, and you will also earn income for exporting excess electricity to the grid. And these combined savings could exceed your monthly payment to Sunsave, which means you actually earn money each year despite paying a subscription. This means you don't have to wait years for payback, which is what most people have to do when they buy solar upfront.
Your best-in-class solar and battery system will also be protected by the Sunsave Guarantee, which provides total peace of mind that your system will produce clean, green electricity for the duration of your subscription, without you having to raise a finger.
The Sunsave Guarantee includes free replacement parts, including a battery and inverter, 24/7 monitoring and maintenance, comprehensive insurance provided by Aviva, and downtime cover.
Sunsave Plus is built to be flexible, so you're in charge of your subscription. Therefore, you can make a full or partial early repayment at any point without incurring any fees, charges, or penalties.
You also legally own your system from day one, which means that you will earn 100% of the export income. We don't take a cut.
Sunsave Plus also doesn't require a roof lease or airspace lease, which have historically caused problems with mortgage providers in the past.
To learn more about Sunsave Plus, head to our website, sunsave.energy. There you can read way more about our subscription, watch interviews with people who already have it, and sign up yourself. So in January 2020, the UK government launched the Smart Export Guarantee, which compels large energy suppliers to pay households for all the renewable electricity they export.
Now, export rates may have started off pretty small, but between 2020 and 2025, they've really shot up, as have the number of solar installations in that time.
It's like the mid-2010s all over again.
You could say that the Force awakened 2015.
You definitely could say that, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, as you can see in this chart, the UK has seen a big spike in residential solar panel installations in recent years, despite the lack of feed-in tariff, with 2023 being almost as big as 2012. 2025 might look a little low, but that's because we've only had about 5 months worth of installations at the time of filming.
Multiple energy suppliers now offer export tariffs that are higher than the export rate that you can get from the feed-in tariff. So if you're still on a feed-in tariff export rate, it's worth considering switching to an SEG one.
But if you do switch, you can still claim your generation payments from your feed-in tariff, so don't worry about that.
And if you want to know more about the Smart Export Guarantee, we won't go into it now because we've already done a whole big video on it and an even larger article where you can find all the best export tariffs currently.
Of course, you can find links to both of these things down below. So that, folks, was the feed-in tariff, or FIT, or FIT.
Yes, it burst onto the scene when the iPad was new, cool and exciting. And it really invigorated the solar panel industry for domestic properties, and then it sort of withered away and vanished.
Pretty iconic, I'd say.
The feed-in tariff may be gone, but the Smart Export Guarantee has grown organically into a very attractive scheme for solar panel owners who can save hundreds of pounds per year by signing up to one of the tariffs.
If you'd like to know more about the feed-in tariff, we've done a whole article on the topic, and the link is in the video description.
And if you want to read all our other articles, just go to our Solar Advice Hub. The link is also down below.
If you fancy switching to solar and you're put off by the high upfront cost, consider Sunsave Plus, the UK's first solar subscription. To sign up, hit the link down below.
Until next time!